We are joined by none other than Jeff Smart,
Nosy Parker is good.
commentary producer.
Monkeys of typewriters, isn't it? You're going to get it right, don't you?
Your involvement began with UFO commentaries, I think. Is that right?
You're kidding me. On the Ventham, she's rung me like this.
Anything can happen in the next half hour.
This is the Gerry Anderson Podcast, the place where we hang out, every other week or so, either talking and chatting with a very special guest, more on that in a moment, or watching a random episode of a Gerry Anderson series with the aforementioned special guest.
That's right, yes. And who have we got this week?
This week we will be talking to Jeff Smart.
Ah, yes.
Now, Jeff Smart is, I suppose, a content creator responsible for many of the video commentaries and so on that were seen on the Anderson DVDs, I
Well,
believe.
it's a lot of the commentaries that he's done have been on the American DVDs. I don't think any of his commentaries have been released in UK DVDs and Blu-rays,
Okay.
at least not yet.
Interesting.
So we shall have to have a chat with him about why that is and
Yes.
if we can borrow them, maybe.
Yes, absolutely. So he has lots of experience in the Anderverse, as we like to call it.
Oh, yes.
Or as I
yes.
like to call it, at least.
Yeah.
Don't know about anyone else. But also, of course, there's Nosy Parker as well, which was a
Nosy Parker
special
is
short
go.
film.
Yes.
1988, I believe.
Yes, shot on film. That was a little
Yeah.
puppet adventure with Parker, featuring the voice of Charles Tingwell as Bruno the waiter.
Yes.
Phoning Parker to say it will be a great disaster.
Yes.
And yes.
Indeed. And
Parker
also-
has to do something about it.
Featuring the voice of David Graham.
Most recently, yes. Yes, not originally, I don't think.
Is
but
that right?
I don't think so. No.
Great.
We will
Yeah.
uncover the mysteries of Nosy
Well,
Parker is Go.
Excitingly, Jeff Smart has a lot of backstage footage from the filming of Nosy Parker and has recently produced a little documentary about the restoration.
Yes, because it's in HD on the new Thunderbirds Blu-ray.
Perfect.
Our Thunderbirds Blu-ray, which is out
So,
now.
Yes, indeed. All of that to come, but I know you're going to hang around for the Voice of the Podsterons, which is also coming up shortly. That's your opportunity to get in touch with us at podcast@gerryanderson.com and give us your thoughts, comments, criticisms.
Yeah.
We can take it.
Yeah, we're big boys.
We are,
can do
yeah.
it,
But first of all, there's a couple of comments from our YouTube channel.
Ooh.
Now, this follows Rosalind Landor joining us
Ah, yes, lovely Rosalind.
last time round. Diana Rigg. Surely not.
No,
the Diana Rigg.
she's come back just to watch the podcast. Yes.
Commented, came here for Rosalind Landor, stayed for the worlds of Gerry Anderson and Rosalind Landor.
Well, she's not here this week.
No.
No.
But fair enough. I hope you're back to join us, Diana Rigg, for this next edition of the
Yes,
Gerry Anderson podcast. One there from Trevor Brown.
Trevor Brown, yes. Trevor Brown says, "Oh wow, Rosalind Landor.
Yeah.
What a great interview this is. I too remember her from the amazing Mr. Blunden. Incidentally, Lionel Jeffries had also worked with Peter Sellers, who is mentioned here. Slightly surprised that it doesn't get mentioned that Rosalind acted opposite Lynn Frederick, the future wife of Sellers. Frederick was in a Series 2 episode of Space 1999. She was indeed. A matter of balance.
Right. Well, I mean, there's only so many minutes in a podcast. We couldn't talk about everything.
But, you know, I will... Lynn Frederick was once in a film where you hear Supermarionation voice artist David Healy's voice on a radio, so...
Okay, that's how niche we're
Phase
going.
4. It's about ants trying to take over the world.
Very good. Excellent. We then sat down to watch an episode of Space 1999.
We did, Catacombs of
with
the Moon,
Roz. Yes,
yes.
Darren Lodge said, well, this for me personally has to be the best episode of the Randomizer ever. Just
Wow.
brilliant,
Okay.
says Darren. Fair enough.
And Uncle Lala says Rosalind Landor is a natural at this. She should be part of your team. We should rename the whole thing the Rosalind Landor podcast.
I mean, there's an empty chair right here.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I have to say also, Ros had a lovely time with us, as we know,
She
because
did,
she's
yes.
been messaging us.
Yes.
And she tweeted that, she was a fan of Gerry Anderson, but following her appearance on the podcast, she's now a fan of Richard, Jamie and Chris.
Oh,
And
but
I
not
put
Ross.
them in that order.
Yes,
Did you notice
of
that?
course, yes, yeah. But not Ross. Ross is not.
Anyway, enough of that nonsense. There's some other nonsense I want to talk
Other
about.
nonsense. I can't think what you mean.
I've been watching the various Gerry Anderson social media channels today, specifically.
Today being the day we record this,
Yes.
which is it's a Wednesday.
Yes. And
Yes.
also April the 1st.
April the 1st.
Which makes me wonder if this isn't entirely to be taken seriously.
It's the bell. Someone's in the church.
Ah, Brains. What do you make of this?
Victor?
Sorry, John, but beyond the obvious explanation, I can't do much help.
The obvious name.
Well, this fella has got something to do with the British Secret Service.
Well.
Remember that one?
Please don't even joke about that. Only you're not joking.
Our friend is at the vault. The master negative was in there waiting to be graded. It's gone.
I am rushing the film to you now.
You really mean it?
The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
You mean they crazy fools?
Yes.
Helena!
Yes,
Helena!
yes.
We'll throw everything we've got into getting this project approved.
We've got to destroy that can of film.
My God, what's happening?
The possible consequences of a decision we hope you will not make.
It was only a dream. It never really happened at all. Or did it?
Listen. There's the bell again.
Well, Chris, what's
going
on?
What do you not get from that?
Well, I'm sensing something is in the air.
Something could be in the air. Well, the bells are ringing.
Is this a question of watch this space?
I think it might be a question of maybe. I think, as I say, it's self-explanatory. But I think if people really want an explanation, I think one or two people might. Maybe, just maybe, they could tune in.
Yes.
On April the 14th.
Oh, yes, Gerry
Anderson Day.
Yep.
I think we might do some kind of what they call a live stream at some point, and sort of maybe we'll address that.
Oh.
Of course, we can't talk about it really with Jamie not being here.
No,
but
true.
as I say, it's fairly self-explanatory. That I don't think we need to analyse it in depth. It speaks for itself.
Fair enough.
Moving on.
What doesn't speak for itself, though, is New Captain Scarlet is coming to
New
Blu-ray.
Captain Scarlet's coming out on Blu-ray. We can talk about that. Yes.
Now, you've been heavily involved in this, Chris.
Yes, and still am cutting together another 2-hour documentary celebrating the past and present and possible future of New Captain Scarlet.
Amazing.
We've rounded up a lot of the old cast and crew to talk about it on a documentary and commentaries. But this release is notable in that it's going to be the first time you can get the whole series in HD with its original opening and closing titles and in the 5.1 that it was originally created in.
Okay.
Because the last Blu-ray set just had a stereo soundtrack. The 5.1 soundtrack was only available on DVD, and the DVDs were slightly cut. And so this time we've done it as best as we can to the original as was created at the time.
Nice.
The trouble with New Captain Scarlet is the surviving elements are a bit sort of spotty.
Oh, nice.
It doesn't survive in like the ultra finished versions, as far as I understand.
Yeah.
What survives is kind of like a box of tapes and hard drives and things. So it has been a bit of an archaeology putting this together. Oh, and of course there's a brand new episode on there.
A brand new episode of New Captain Scarlet after all these years.
We thought, as we were talking to all these actors, why not get them into a recording booth, get them to do a bit of acting?
Great.
So we, with the blessing of Phil Ford, who wrote it, we have adapted for audio. AC has adapted for audio. House of Dolls, which is an episode that was written for New Captain Scarlet back in the day and not made because Gerry thought it would be too scary for the kiddies.
Brilliant.
Which, bearing in mind the things they did get away with in New Captain Scarlet, people getting shot in the face and having their necks snapped and so on, it's you could say it's maybe not out of step with what they were already doing.
Yes.
But
wow.
Gerry said no, so they didn't do it.
Oh, I look
we
forward to
thought
that.
we'd do it now.
And actually, talking of New Captain Scarlet, we have a very special guest in a couple of months' time joining us. Let's say a very prominent voice from New Captain Scarlet will be sitting in our interview chair. More news on that the closer we get, I guess.
Yeah.
Talking of the closer we get, I have a feeling that those Podsterons are getting very close indeed.
Very close indeed, yes.
This is the voice of the Podsterons.
Yes, it's the voice of the Podsterons. Our viewers and listeners, that's you, have been getting in touch via
email, comments on podcast@gerryanderson.com. Put me on the spot there.
Yeah, exactly. Now, our first one here is from Paul Davis, who says, howdy, Richard,
howdy,
Chris, Jamie, and Ross. Delete as appropriate. Okay, well,
that's half the names gone.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Anderson Entertainment for the wonderful Thunderbirds Blu-ray release.
You're very welcome.
What a treat to be able to watch our favourite Super Marination series in such vivid clarity. Never before have I spotted quite so many Airfix girder bridges pieces in one go. go.
Yes.
Really?
Half of the world of Thunderbirds is made up of airfix girder bridge pieces.
Of course. Yes. I very much enjoyed the self-referential aspects of Fabblebox, most amusing.
Thank you.
I also find myself retrospectively substituting my memories of binge-watching grainy VHS copies during the school holidays in the 1990s with the new Blu-ray version. Well, that's nice, isn't it?
Nice, yeah.
On top of that, I've pre-ordered Crispin Merrill's new Captain Scarlet soundtrack, and I'm looking forward to that later in the year.
Is it not out already?
Oh. Well,
I'm confused. I don't know.
Fine. However, my main reason for getting in touch is actually to share with you the latest additions to my Gerry Anderson themed model railway rolling stock.
Okay. Right.
Firstly, thanks to Rapido UK's new custom wagon printing service, I have had a couple of Anderson-themed wagons made, and I'm sure Chris will be able to identify all the references.
Okay, yes.
Go on then, Chris.
Yes, well, Ben Sheba Refinery, they produced oil for Spectrum in the Captain Scarlet episode Fire at Rig 15. I like that it says Return to Spectrum on there. That's a very nice touch, and the year as well.
Excellent.
Gray and Houseman Construction, yes, that's Thunderbirds, End of the Road.
Wow.
Got a sign on it saying Return to Slough.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Secondly, designed by me but released by the talents of Warren Haywood and his custom locomotive painting services, I've had a fictional Hornby 040 repainted in a livery inspired by the Sidewinder from Peter Peril and the World Army as frequently depicted in Joe 90.
Yes. Yes, and that's even a Joe 90 truck on the flatbed back there. Yeah.
Well spotted. I'm very pleased with how they all came out.
They're lovely,
so you should be too. They're really nice. Finally, I have a couple of merchandise ideas. I appreciate the licensing is probably complex, but a new release of the soundtracks for the Thunderbirds Are Go and Thunderbirds 6 soundtracks would be most welcome. The previous release goes for silly money on eBay.
Yes.
Also, would it be possible to create an anthology of Graham Bleethman's Anderverse cutaway illustrations? Having all his work in a single volume would be wonderful. Keep on podding. PWORFABSIG Paul Davis.
Doesn't say SPA.
No, he doesn't. People rarely do. It's just me.
Oh.
So what do we think about the soundtracks for Thunderbirds Are Go and Thunderbirds 6 being?
Well, as Jamie's not here, if I'll greenlight anything, but it won't happen. The Thunderbirds movie soundtracks. Thunderbirds 6 has been out a couple of times. Thunderbirds Are Go. There was a release of that with the Thunderbird 6 soundtrack about 10 years ago. Yeah, they do go for silly money on eBay. I'm not aware of us having any soundtracks coming down the pipe, but you never know.
Yep.
And an anthology of Graham Bleethman's Anderverse cutaways. That would be lovely. Again, there was one about 10 years ago produced by Egmont, which covered most of the major ones. The problem is, and I hesitate to say it's even a problem, because it's not. Yeah. He's still making them. Every single month, it seems there is some kind of new Graham Bleethman Anderson-related cutaway. So it will never be complete. But it would be lovely to reprint an expanded version of that volume that was out about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, here's hoping, Paul. Okay, another one for you there, Chris.
This is from Andrew Novine.
Yes.
He says, I'm the guy who is reproducing the Space 1999 sets in virtual reality. My next update will include the solarium and the nuclear generating area. Ooh. The solarium needs more work, but the nuclear generating area is complete, and you can see the 3D renders in my DeviantArt gallery.
Yes.
That is spot on, yes.
What do you think of those?
It's lovely.
Great work.
Yeah. You can just see Ian McShane lurking around the corner somewhere about to suck the life out of you. He says, I should be able to update the VR project with this new content in a month or two, but in the meantime, these rendered images will give you an idea of what to expect.
Very, very clever.
Well, yeah, I was saying to Richard just before we started that I'm seriously tempted to get a VR headset, a Meta Quest, I think they're called, to watch movies on. But if there's a virtual reality Moonbase Alpha to stroll around in, even more reason to get one, I think.
Complete with Ian McShane.
Of course, yes, please, yes.
Very nice. Greetings, broadcasters of Brilliant Babble.
Brilliant Babble.
Okay, like it. Continuing my watch through of Gerry Anderson's shows, this is Ben Bernard Smith, by the way, I have now seen Space 1999. Good. By the end of season 1, I could safely say that this was my third favourite Anderson show after, have a guess?
Well, I can see on my script here it says Thunderbirds and Stingray.
Right.
So,
the characters, the settings, and the storylines all made for exciting storytelling. It kind of made me think of Star Trek The Next Generation, with a commander and doctor having a will they, won't they relationship. sort of Picard Crusher sort of thing, maybe. And just generally with everyone on board going through life experiences as they go through space. But with the difference that they usually couldn't control where they headed. Yeah, good point. My favourite of this season was The Last Sunset, as it really played with the fact that they were on a planet of sorts and not a ship, and had some interesting character moments.
That's my favourite too. Oddly enough,
Really?
for the same reasons. Yeah, I really like that one.
Next is Terrorhawks, but I've taken a break to watch through the wonderful Thunderbirds Blu-ray set first, which I'm enjoying immensely.
Yes.
Thank you for it, FAB, Ben Bernard-Smith.
So you've got to really savour Terrorhawks, yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's interesting there. The third favourite Anderson show, out of how many has he seen, though?
Oh, good point.
Because, you know,
He's not yet seen Terrorhawks.
Not yet seen Terrorhawks, but some might say saving the best till last.
Yes. So
some might not say that. This is from Jen Whitby,
Aww.
creator of our wonderful sewing collection of
wonderful
international rescue vehicles.
Now
here.
pride of place on our table, as you can see, Jen.
She says, "Hi guys."
Hello.
I thought I would send a follow-up email now that the presents have been opened, just about how I made them in case other Podsterons wanted to go. I am new to sewing.
Really?
It really does not show.
No.
But I was inspired to make Thunderbirds plushies following the Brains plushie from an earlier pod.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Unfortunately,
We've made
Thunderbirds...
so many, Jen, I can't remember.
Thunderbirds plushie patterns do not exist. So I resorted to adapting papercraft model patterns. I was able to find patterns for 1 to 4 and Fab 1, but any link for Thunderbird 5 is dead. So I broke down Thunderbird 5 into basic shapes, the same way an artist uses building blocks to get a rough guide to create a basic pattern.
Right.
Unlike the paper patterns, I had to create the details from screenshots and my own Thunderbird 5 model from the kit, which I believe you still have in stock.
Aha.
I think we do, yes.
Good, yeah, great.
The paper patterns come with either a JPEG or PDF, which you can then print off. I traced the parts I wanted with tracing paper so that I could sew over the lines and then remove the paper. Once the individual parts were ready with details, I then sewed them together before estimating how much toy stuffing I needed to fill them.
Wow.
As a beginner, I think some sections needed more than I thought before closing.
Oh.
This is why Thunderbird 3 is a bit saggy when docked. We demonstrated that last time.
Yeah,
It drooped a bit. But, I mean... We can't even get most Thunderbird 3 toys in the same line to dock with the Thunderbird 5 of that.
Yes.
The fact that that fits is just a miracle.
Wonderful.
The sizing of the craft varied depending on the template available and how well the felt would perform in certain spots. I did try to get Fab 1 to fit into the pod once its cargo had been emptied, that cargo being chocolate, and I tested it earlier. Fab 1 does fit into Thunderbird 2's pod.
Well done, yes.
Fab 1's on the back
Lovely.
there now. Thunderbird 5 was the last to be made, as I wanted to ensure that Thunderbird 5 would fit. As a new sewer, not sewer.
Yes.
There is a difference, yes. I resorted to hand stitching everything, but it meant I could get the details just right. I'm so glad they've been so well received by everyone. I have just one question. Would it be possible to get some Ander plushies in the store?
Oh.
I'm sure Richard would love an eagle plushie, and my fellow Podsterons would love one of their favourite craft.
Yes.
That's a nice idea.
It is a lovely idea, isn't it? Okay, we'll pass that on to Jamie.
I mean,
I
I think there's a market for Yuri the Space Bear teddy bears.
Almost certainly.
With,
a very
with
small
glowing
market.
yellow eyes. Yes, I think it might just be me, but yeah. And that's all for now.
Yes, thank you very much. So don't forget, April the 14th, Gerry Anderson Day. We will be here in the evening with a special live stream featuring, well, some news that I don't think you will want to miss.
Things, yes. Things, multiple things, yes.
In the meantime, get in touch with us at podcast@gerryanderson.com with your news, reviews, comments, ratings, whatever you like.
Sewing patterns.
Yes, sewing patterns.
Yeah.
Don't forget to give us a subscribe and a rating wherever you listen or watch this podcast. And in the meantime, stay tuned for a very special interview with Jeff Smart. We are joined by none other than Jeff Smart, a commentary producer on many Anderson DVD titles, from Supercar to Space 1999 and plenty in between. Yeah. So your involvement began with UFO commentaries, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Many years ago, it was really strange. I just lost my job, my full-time job. I worked as a computer animator for a company in Bristol. And I was looking around for something to do, and I was in contact with a chap called Mark Martin.
Yeah.
And Mark Martin used to run the UFO series website. Anyway, one day he called me up and he said, I've had this call from a company called A&E, Arts and Entertainment Channel.
Right.
Or Video Channel, whatever they're called in America. And he said, they're interested in getting some extras for the release of UFO. I said, well, look, let me see what I can get. And originally we were looking for that bit of footage of Sylvia Anderson, the fashions thing, future fashions, with, I think it's not Dolores, it's the other... Antonia Ellis.
Yeah, romping around in the costume.
Standing there posing and all that stuff. Anyway, I went and I found the material in an archive in London. But they wanted about like £1,500 to do it, somehow for the rights.
Yeah.
And I said, for that sort of money, I could do a commentary with the actors, and all that stuff. And they said, oh, well, we'll get back to you. And I didn't expect to hear anything more from them, And about a week later, I get a phone call and they said, yeah, we'll go ahead. Yeah, do it. And I went, what?
Okay.
You want me to do
now I've got to think about something.
And now I want you to do 2 of them. We want 2 commentaries. And I'm thinking, well, what commentaries and what episodes? And they said, well, just pick whatever one you want. I mean, that's for a fan of UFOs. I'm a huge fan of UFOs. It's my favourite show of all time.
Right.
So to be able to be given the choice to do 2 episodes at my choice, at my discretion, So I thought about it, and I remembered that I'd met Alan Perry once or twice at a couple of events, and he raved on a lot about his favourite episode, which is Kill Straker.
Okay.
And I thought, right. And at the time, I was quite friendly with Mike Billington.
Oh, right.
Obviously, Paul Foster in UFO.
Yeah.
And the thought occurred to me, if I got the 2 of them together, Mike is quite a good storyteller, and Alan is great. He's got all the background to the series and all that history of working on the Superman Nation shows prior to that.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, that might be a nice combination, to get a director with an actor. Because you don't want 2 actors, you don't want 2 directors, you want a director and somebody else, somebody who can tell the story from a different perspective.
Interesting.
So anyway, I rang up Mike and I said, look, would you be interested in doing commentary? Yeah, I'll be up for that, blah, blah, blah. Offered him a very minimum fee, but he still said yes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Rather like today, Jeff.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, and then I chased up Alan Perry and I said, look, we do this. And Alan said, well, look, if you can come up to me in Yorkshire, he lives near Shipley, which is a little village outside of Leeds. And he said, if you can pop up here, I can arrange a studio facility, because I don't know if you know this, but Alan for many years ran a commercials company up in the north. When he left Century 21 after UFO, he took his family up north and he set up a little commercials company. And they used to do everything from DFS furniture to sort of, come down to the local, butchers and buy your meat here and all that kind of stuff. He was quite a raconteur when it came to doing really cheap commercials for local telly up there, right? Not that they look cheap. They don't look cheap, Alan. They look excellent, really brilliant commercials. But he started to build up things with like DFS, who became a much bigger company. So anyway, I met Mike on the train up, because he used to live at a place called Birchington, which is down in Margate on the south coast. And I met him at a railway station up north somewhere. I can't quite remember where, outside Leeds somewhere. And I remember that I turned the key to get to a hotel and I drained the battery. And it was very embarrassing to have this actor, which I admire, who's a friend of mine, who I grew up with and watched, in UFO, being the tough guy and all that stuff. Yeah. And there I am trying to start my car. So luckily enough, I had a charger on me and a battery starter, and I managed to get the car going. We got to this hotel. And before the next day where we were doing the commentary, what happened, I said to Mike, look, why don't we go around and visit Alan just briefly this evening? Because I hadn't seen each other for like 25, 30 years or something like that, because this was about 2001, 2002.
Yeah, right.
And I thought I didn't want them meeting and then half an hour spent with them chatting before we could do the commentary. I thought, well, let's try and get that over tonight. So I rang Alan and I said, look, we pop around for 5 minutes. Anyway, we walked in and they started to talk football and more football. I wanted to talk UFO. They were talking football. And I think it was about an hour later, I was saying, look, come on, Mike, let's go. Come on, we've got to get early to do this commentary. Anyway, we went into this studio the next day, and I didn't realise this. It was actually a Christian radio station. Oh, right? Yeah. Okay. So we had to be a bit careful what we said.
Yes.
And we sat down at a circular table. I had Mike and Alan there, and I gave them a bit of a briefing beforehand about what we were looking at doing. And I sat with the technician in the other room. It was my first commentary that I ever produced. So I was like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? Yeah. Bit like the first time you probably did a podcast, you sit there.
The first time? Every time.
You'll get it right one day, guys. You will get it right. Keep trying. Keep trying if you can.
Law of averages says we'll get it right one day.
Yeah, one day. You're bound to.
Maybe not this year.
Monkeys at typewriters, isn't it? You're going to get it right eventually. So anyway, what happened? I sat there for an hour being absolutely regaled by these two. And I got to the end, and honestly, it came to the end. It was a perfect start, a perfect middle, a perfect end. And I just got up and applauded them. They couldn't hear me because I was behind the glass screen, but they could see me.
Great.
And they made my life very, very easy to do that. And I remember there were really funny comments. Like there's one scene where the astronauts on Killstraker, they're repairing the window and they're standing outside trying to fix it and on a ladder. And Alan says something like, oh, could you come and do the windows later when my husband's here? This kind of stuff, little jokes. I'll pay you in the morning, kind of thing. But the two of them together, it was magic. And that's the thing when you're doing commentaries. If you get the right combination of people, the worst thing is if you get somebody and they don't remember the show, they've got nothing to say about it.
Yes, quite.
Maybe they haven't seen the show for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So my job as the producer is to try and help them along the way. And I did with some written information. I gave them a few clues and I sort of gave them an outline thing. But it was the fact that they loved that show. Yeah. It was the fact that Mike Billington, that's his favourite programme he ever worked on.
Amazing.
And, by far, he's worked on, An Eden Line, The Spearhead and all this other stuff, and a Bond film appearance, etc. Was going to be James Bond if Roger had said, no, I'm not taking...
He auditioned for it more times than any other actor, didn't he, allegedly?
He did. And he did all the tests with all the girls. In fact, I was told by him that there was once upon a time where, I think it was around about the time of Octopussy or something like that, where Roger would be at one end of the hotel and Mike would be at the other. And the Bond people, Eon Productions, would say to Roger, well, Roger, we got Mike at the other end here, and he can do it for $500,000, and you want $4 million? And he's a bit younger, he can run upstairs a bit quicker, so he's got the chest hair and all that stuff. So they really played them off against you. And it's only really by a quirk of fate that Mike didn't end up being James Bond. And I think he'd have made an excellent Bond.
Well, likewise, it's only a quirk of fate that I didn't end up as James Bond.
Well,
we all know those stories.
I mean, you'd have been number 3. You're in the next corridor and the next down. So after Mike, they would go to you and then to you.
It's vacant at the moment, isn't it?
That's exactly how it happens. Yes, it is.
Have a shave, you might get a gig. Who knows? So what happened as a result of that, I had another commentary that I was looking at doing, because I was asked to do 2 commentaries on UFO for the release. And I thought, well, my favourite episode is either Mindbender or Time Lash.
Yeah.
And Mindbender, I can't remember why I didn't go for it. I wanted to get Ed Bishop, but he'd already done a commentary on an episode, and I didn't want to double up. I think he did one some years earlier.
I think, for the UK.
Sub-Smash, that's right. And he did that on his own without the benefit of an experienced producer, and as a result of that, it's a little bit wobbly in a few places. It's a bit sort of the detail isn't quite there. I'm sure Ed could have done a much better job if he had a proper producer helping him out.
Yeah.
But then the thought occurred to me: I've done the boys, why don't I try and do the girls? And the thought occurred to me that if I did Time Lash, I might be able to get Wanda Ventham involved, who's never really appeared at any UK conventions at that stage. And so I managed to get in touch with her through Mike Billington. I got his number.
Yeah, of course.
And one day I got home, my wife answered, I saw when I got home, my wife said, oh, there was a call from you before. I said, who's that from? From a lady called Wanda. I went, you're kidding me. Wanda Ventham, she's rung me, like this. So, anyway, she rang back about half an hour later. I was shaking, because Wanda is like, I mean, I've always held a little thing for Wanda, shall we say.
Yeah, right.
As a 7
you might
or 8
regret
year
putting
old.
it like that.
Well, probably not. It's probably a
careful
Freudian slip.
A torch, you mean a torch, yes.
A torch, that's quite right. And so anyway, she agreed to do it. And so I said, look, I may look to do this with Sylvia. So I rang up Sylvia's office, and I'd met Sylvia a few times before. Yeah. And Sylvia said, yeah, I'll do it with Wanda. It sounds great fun.
Wow.
So the good thing with the Time Lash episode is I got the girly chap.
Okay.
The producer, and there's a lot of talk about Patrick Allen's dance belt and the way his trousers are positioned in certain scenes, which Sylvia, as the costume supervisor, had to sort of look after a little bit, shall we say. So I did that over at Pinewood. I had the great pleasure of taking Wanda around the studio in my car, which had wing doors on. Can you believe it?
Nice.
Yeah, And I took her around the studio, so I did the little tour with as if I was Ed driving into the studio and through the front gate and showing her where the various locations were.
Yeah.
We went and did the commentary, and they were terrific. And a friend of mine called Henry Holland came and helped me on the day. And there's a little interesting story about this in that I had to get Wanda back home very quickly that evening because her son was his first professional stage production.
Right.
Now, nobody knew who her son was at the time.
No. Everyone knows now.
Well, everybody else now. I didn't know. So as I'm driving her back she lived in a flat near Harrods up that way.
Oh, yeah.
Knightsbridge,
yeah.
And she said to me, we finished about 5 o'clock, and she said, could you get me back home? You know, I don't want to catch a cab. Can you take me? I said, well, do you know the way? And she said, well, yeah, this is before sat-nav or anything. So I said, well, if you know the way, you direct me and I'll barrel it. I'll get you home, right? Anyway, I managed to get her home with about 5 minutes to spare. And I said, so it's your son's first appearance? And she said, oh, yeah, we're a bit worried about him because he's decided to take my husband's real name. Now, her husband was Timothy Carlton. I'm thinking, well, Carlton, that's not a problem. She goes, no, the family name is actually Cumberbatch. And I said, what's his name? Benedict Cumberbatch. And I said, that's a mouthful. Yeah. And they were really concerned that might hinder his thing. A bit like Arnold. But I said, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's not hurt him, is it? The big old name. Yeah. So he stuck with it. And here we are all these years later. And I'm the one that got her to the ball, if you like, the first appearance of Benedict at a paying gig.
That's amazing.
So, so it's amazing when you do these things. And then at the end of it, we gave them some flowers and a thing of champagne each and stuff. Yeah. We treated them like ladies, and they did a brilliant job of the commentary for us. And if anybody out there has heard these commentaries, I think they're on the Australian release, and they're on an original American release, and some other releases over time. Okay. And I'm very proud of them because they were the first two I ever got involved with, and with the start of I think I did about 18 of them in all. Over the years, so with all sorts of people. So it was a great joy to me to be involved in those, and that's how it all started.
Incredible. Yeah. I mean, I know you've got a wealth of stories, Jeff, that we'll hopefully cover. If we don't cover them all today, you'll just have to come back and do it all again, won't you?
Well, I'll make it a regular weekly appearance. If you can afford me, if the cash is in the right place.
Now, in the meantime, we had a brief email exchange before you arrived today.
And did you?
I asked you, Jeff, to give us your score for the Andermeter. Where do you rate your Gerry Anderson knowledge? And let's have a look and see how you did.
It depends. What is this, the Andermeter?
This is it. So we've got 1,
Is this like the clapometer that Huey Green used to use?
Exactly. Back to 2, 3, 5.
No, it's not 5. 4. It could be 4. It depends what show. I'm not very au fait with the early ones.
Oh, really?
No, because I was born at an age where I grew up with Thunderbirds, and even though I know Stingray, I haven't really watched the earlier ones that much, but I should do.
Absolutely right. That's right.
But so is this where I'm going to be humiliated?
Well,
no, I think you're the king of the Andermeter at the moment.
Okay, here we go. Now, let's see if you're going to be humiliated or not.
Can I phone a friend?
We're going to play a very quick game with you,
right,
Jeff. This is called Superidentification.
Do I hit that?
Don't press the red button. That's for later.
Button here.
Not yet.
I think that's the ejector seat, isn't it? If you don't like a guest, you go.
That's an idea. Yeah, we could stumble one of those.
We're going to show you some very, very, very quick clips from the opening titles of every one of Gerry and Sylvia's shows from 1957 to 2005.
Right, I probably can get that.
There are 18 of them in all.
18 of them.
And when you see one you know, shout it out. Ready?
All right.
They are quick.
Are they in order?
Yes.
Right, that's Twizzle.
Good. That's number 1.
Okay.
Keeping count on my fingers. Number 2.
Tall Cheap Battery Boy.
Well, he's cool. I thought you didn't know the early stuff.
4 Feather Falls.
Yes. Very good.
Supercar.
I have a feeling he's going to walk this.
I think we're going to get our
Fireball,
second ever
XO5.
Our second ever 18-pointer, I think.
Stingray. Yes. We're about to launch.
That's it.
Oh, that one. Not too sure about that one.
So tricky.
Thunderbirds.
I knew it would come to you.
Captain Scarlet.
Yes.
Joe 90.
Very good. So.
Secret Service.
That's the one that
he's reading with answers before the clips come up.
UFO.
Good. Then.
The Protectors.
Oh. When is he going to struggle?
Avenues and alleyways. Space 99, Series 1.
Oh, very good.
This is an emergency.
Terrorhawks.
Good. Then.
Dick Spanish.
Yes. Never into the 90s.
Space Precinct.
Very good.
Derived from Space Police.
That's it.
Lavender Castle. Made by
Yes.
Cosgrove Hall Productions.
Yeah.
And finally, number 18. Yes.
New Captain Scarlet.
Hey.
I can tell you a little thing about New Captain Scarlet.
Well, please do.
I met Gerry again when I came back to the UK in 1998, and I went round to his house in Oxford in the room at the back where he had his home office.
Yeah.
I got shown around the house. It was simple. I've seen Jamie Anderson's bedroom, by the way.
Oh.
And also,
every guest says that.
I have, yeah, I know. So I was accompanied by an adult. So I also saw Gerry Anderson's flushing toilet, because I said to him that ever since I came back to the UK, I hadn't found a toilet that flushes, and he took me out and he showed me his toilet flushing. I've got it on video, that's absolutely true. But more than that, we went to his back office area and we were chatting, and he said, "What are you doing these days?" And I said, "I do computer animation." "What's that?" And I said, "Well, imagine if you had something like Thunderbirds, but the characters could get up, move around, they could do action, they could speak dialogue and all that stuff." "Oh, really?" He said. "Oh, how does that work?" And I explained it to him. And that's the first time he'd ever heard, well, I believe, because the reaction to me was he'd never heard of it before.
Yeah.
That was in 1998.
Okay.
And I could, if that then led to the idea of doing Captain Scarlet and using that technique, then I'm very pleased, because I love New Captain Scarlet.
Wow, do you? I was about to ask, how successful do you think it was in bringing Captain Scarlet back to a new format?
I think the problem was, when you have something original, it's like remaking anything, isn't it? It's when you remake something, you redo Casablanca or you redo the Italian Job. Mm-hmm. It's never probably going to have quite the same feeling as the original. Yeah. But in actual fact, I thought that it addressed an issue that the original Captain Scarlet had a problem with. An action show where the puppets couldn't perform action.
Right.
So you couldn't grab a gun, you couldn't punch anybody. You used to stand there and go, "Come on then, Captain, let's go over to Skybase." And
on a travelator.
Yeah, on a travelator. Yes. I mean, so I think that technique was ideal for it. I mean, now, to be honest, I know some people out there in internet land wouldn't agree with me, but AI is... I've seen some brilliant AI stuff to do with Captain Scarlet. There's some stuff with the SPV and the SPC, which is superb. Yeah. Absolutely superb. And I think if Gerry was still around today... I don't know how old he would be, but
96 coming up to, I think.
Something about that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. If he did, I think that any future series he'd look at using AI techniques to do that recreations.
Well, Jamie says exactly the same, doesn't he? That actually
he
was very
like
keen.
Father, like son.
There you go.
Right.
But Gerry was very keen on seizing whatever opportunities and new tech that he could to tell his stories.
Well, I think that's the story of Century 21, isn't it? Yeah. For developing puppet shows well beyond. If you look at the average puppet show, you had a few shots there of Twizzle and stuff like that. Have a look at the other puppet shows. Yeah. We're talking wooden tops.
Yes.
We're talking things like that.
Absolutely.
When he was doing Stingray, it was Andy Pandy. Yeah. So when you look at that, he embraced that technology and really thought to himself, I'm going to make the best, even though I don't want to make puppet shows, I'm forced to make them, I'll make the best ones I can, which he did, by far. And, and in a way that led to things like me creating, Nosy Parker's Go as well.
Indeed,
So that's my thinking there, that somebody like that you always need to embrace technology. Yeah. It's going to help you out one way or another.
Well, we'll be talking about Nosy Parker, of course, at great length very shortly, and also seeing a little clip of how you did use new technology to help relaunch or refresh Nosy Parker for the Blu-ray.
Yes,
that's right.
Things that I wouldn't have been able to do even 2 or 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have been able to do it.
But in the meantime, Jeff, what was young Jeff Smart watching when he was sat in front of a TV?
Look at that. I've still got the same eyes, believe it or not. Everything else is different now. I've just had
oddly the kind of like turtleneck that you would see a Paul Foster.
You know what?
Or
I
Colonel
think
Freeman
that's
in.
why I had it. It looks like something that Paul Foster or even Straker would. There are scenes where Straker wears a very similar thing. See, if I dyed my hair there, I could be young Straker, couldn't I? I could have gone for the role. I would have been about the right age at the time.
So what were you watching and enjoying at that age? What were you, sort of 5, 6, 7-ish?
I guess. And this is when I was still living in England, because I grew up here. I'm a Londoner. Look, Thunderbirds,
Right.
Scarlet. I lived for any Gerry Anderson show that was coming out.
And what was it about them then that captured you so much?
Because they were so much higher above what the usual fare on TV was. I mean, I was never a huge fan of Doctor Who, and I do apologise to all the viewers for that, including Jamie.
Yes.
But I wasn't a huge fan of that. I could watch it, but I didn't feel that it was something that really grabbed me, whereas all the Anderson shows, they had great action, great stories, great characters, the visual effects and the design work. Derek Mailing's design work on Mike Trim, absolutely superb.
Absolutely.
You can't beat this stuff. You really can't. And you look at the design of things like the SPV, the Shadow Mobile, which Mike Trim designed, the UFO Interceptor.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't anything like that on TV then, and there probably hasn't really anything since.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Space 99, obviously, and you have some other shows. There's some great stuff out there, Babylon 5 and Star Trek stuff and what have you.
Yeah.
But at the time, if you look at what else there was nothing. The Anderson shows were the only thing worth watching, in my opinion, at that time.
And did young Jeff have the toys?
I
models?
Yes, I did. I had the, I think I started off with the blue Thunderbird 2.
Oh, yes,
So
of
it
course.
was the early one where the legs used to always break on it. Do you remember that? It might have been the green one. There was a few different types.
Yeah.
And there was one where the legs were really spindly.
There's one with yellow legs, wasn't there?
Yeah.
It might have been the blue one.
And you'd fling them up and they'd always break on you and stuff. I think it probably ended in tears that particular day.
Yeah.
So I had that. I had a Thunderbird 4, a J.R. Rosenthal, the C-21 toys or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
And I remember because they had a little propeller and I used to sit in the bath at my grandparents' place in West Hampstead with this thing going back and forwards. So I had that. And then the SPV, definitely. I had the dinky SPV, which I've still got one. I got another one years later.
Yeah.
And I don't think I ever had anything from Joe 90, but then when UFO came up, the family moved to Manchester. And my grandmother used to come up from London about every 3 to 6 months. Instead of bringing us up sweets or something, she used to bring us a little toy.
Nice.
So, one UFO Interceptor, please, Nan.
Lovely.
So thank you, Doris.
Oh.
I got the Interceptor, and I used to spend most of my time in the cupboard hanging a little... The top end of a Saturn V rocket, the little point beam, because it was similar shape to a UFO. Hanging on a bit of string, trying to shoot it with my Interceptor, with the little cap. Because remember, a little cap in it, didn't it? Little cap going bang and stuff.
It's quite some oomph on that thing. Yeah, I've got one, a Dinky Interceptor. Yeah, and it does come out with some force.
Yeah, well, I don't know, can you buy the caps anymore? I'm not sure. You're probably not allowed to. You probably have to get a special license to buy caps these days. But I used to be there fine. I used to keep me busy for hours. That's how I spent my youth. So, it's terrible, isn't it?
I mean, very quickly, can you tell us how did you get from playing with Gerry Anderson toys to playing in the worlds of Gerry Anderson? How did you become so synonymous with commentaries and the DVD extras and so on?
Well,
and Nosy Parker.
Could you ever Nosy Parker was the first thing, and of course I was living in Australia at the time. I was living in Melbourne, Australia. But I was at college, but I got an offer to go and work for a television company in the art department. I chose my art teacher at school very well because she happened to be married to the head of design at Channel 10, a guy called Bradley Ross. Thank you, Bradley. He offered me, I got some work experience, and years later they offered me a job there.
I see.
And when I say offered me a job, rang me up and said, there's a job going, are you interested? And I said, well, yeah, how do I apply? And he said, turn up on Monday, the job's yours. That's how I got into TV work.
Yeah.
So it was in the design department. I worked on shows like Young Talent Time. Many Australian viewers will know probably what that is. It had a very young Danny Minogue in it, 11 years old at the time. Yeah. It was a kids' talent show, variety show thing. But also in the other studio, we were doing Prison Cell Block H. So occasionally I'd be making up badges or something for Prisoner Cell Block H of some latest, prison officer that joined us or whatever. So I was involved in that, and then I went to work for ABC Television as a prop maker, and I worked on various shows there. There was a very famous Australian comedy show called The D-Generation. Yes. And they did a famous Thunderbirds sketch, which you guys ran some episodes ago.
That's right, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I was actually involved in that because I made some of these really cheap Jack-looking Thunderbirds models. Yeah. And it was because I worked on that, and you had these guys doing their usual, yes, Virgil, this kind of stuff. Yeah. And because of that, I thought, I'd love to make a proper Thunderbirds base, something that's good, and film some proper sort of effectsy things and relive the Derek Mailing's magic kind of stuff. So I thought about this, and I'd been at the ABC for about 2 years, and I'd got a little bit of money together by then. And I thought, you know what, I want to learn how to make films. That's my passion, you know. I want to learn how to film them and light them and edit them and all that stuff. And then the thought occurred to me, if I made some sort of version of Thunderbirds, then maybe I could combine all of those model making skills and prop making and filming skills all into one.
Yes.
So I came up with this idea, and I thought, how am I going to do this, you know? And I had the idea of doing Parker, of making a Parker puppet. And in fact, I may have just brought a little friend with me today.
Hey?
A friend?
Oh?
Who have I got, you might ask?
Yes, come on then.
Shall I shake it
Yes,
now?
please do.
Now,
Yeah.
this has come all the way
exciting.
years ago from Melbourne, Australia, where it was made. And there he is there.
Oh, the man himself.
I'm trying to get there in focus there. All his strings are broken at the moment, by the way.
Yeah, bless him.
Now, I've had to redress him slightly because a few of these things got broken. That actually I've remade. So for the remastered version of Nosy, I've included some new scenes.
Okay.
And I used the original puppet, but some of the bits are missing, including things like the hat. So I've had to remake the hat.
Oh, yeah.
There is his
Lovely.
new hat.
Oh,
Lovely,
that's
isn't he? And this operates pretty much like an original Thunderbirds puppet. But the thing is, at the time, I was living in Melbourne, Australia. This was 1988.
Yeah.
I'd never seen an original Thunderbirds puppet. So I had to guess the size of it from
Very
behind-the-scenes pictures.
Right.
I'd be measuring with a ruler, you know, pictures in Starlog magazine of the puppets thing, and there must be that's somebody's hand. How long would it be? All that stuff. And there was one picture from I think it was Stingray or Supercar at the back of the head, and I could see a bit of the eye mechanism. So I worked out a way so I could get the eyes so they both move together,
Yes.
and the mouth has a little solenoid in, basically
Yes,
the same way as the
right,
rest.
yeah.
So that is Nosy
How
as
wonderful.
he is, and that was sculpted by me, cast by me, and in the film it was operated by me.
Amazing.
So there you go. There is little Parker.
Incredible.
And
Love
I've got a few other little bits here.
Oh,
as
yes,
well.
yes.
Now see this special briefcase here. I'm just going to move this.
yes.
This is very special. Can you see the briefcase here?
Well, you can see the briefcase.
Yes, here.
Yeah.
Now, does anybody recognise this briefcase? Can I move the button?
Sure.
Right. This is actually the same briefcase that they used in UFO.
It is.
It's Straker's briefcase.
Is it?
But did you know there's actually two briefcases that Straker uses?
Right.
The one with Destruct Negative,
Yes.
right, which is used in 2 episodes, the opening, and used in a flashback scene where he has to attend a meeting to discuss the spinning of shadow, and he's got this thing. But all the other episodes, he's got a more modern one, which has got the integrated handle. This is actually a Samsonite. It's the second or first version out there.
Lovely.
And watch this. Opens just the way it did in UFO. There you go. So in here, I've got
Great.
along with me, I'm going to have to put this down because it's taking up time. I don't
Yeah,
want to knock
sure.
over your little
No,
toys
that's
there.
right.
Right. So in here, I've got some
This is
bits
great.
and pieces. You enjoying this? Show and tell. I haven't done this for years.
In, yay.
Yeah, oh, he's lost
didn't
his
say
little
that.
hat too. Now, just to give you an idea of how I used to do some of these commentaries, these are actually, just going back to that a second, these are actually script, little script things. And they're not scripts. What they are is little helper things. So, for instance, this one here is for 5LXO5 on the doomed planet. Some of the people that you bring in for doing commentaries, like this was with David Graham, they haven't seen these episodes for a long, long time.
Quite.
So I've got little helper things in here. So for instance, here it might say the doomed planet. It's got various different episodes descriptions.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a little bit of information about the episode.
Yeah.
Some key elements in the episode as well. So and now I've got notes that I've written as we're doing the commentary to keep up to date. Now, to be honest with David, I didn't need to do that because David knew it inside and out, and he even sang the 5LXO5 song at the end in different character voices from all the series.
Yes,
Do you remember that?
yes.
A fireball, a fireball, you know, all stuff. So that's David's one. That's Testament of Arcadia with Sylvia Anderson. She did the commentary.
Yeah,
that
lovely.
one there, right?
Yes.
So again, they've just got little helpful notes in there, just to help people along the way. There's Mike Billington for Kill Straker.
Amazing.
Right? So inside there, he signed it there. Best wishes, Mike Billington, etc. And that's Time Lash with Wanda, I think.
Yeah.
Is that Wanda? It looks like it.
Yeah.
Can't read to me. Yeah, best regards, Wanda, commentary and Time Lash. So these aren't to put words in their mouth.
Yes.
These are just because they forget
Prompts.
the name of the person
Of course.
who was the director or something like that.
Yeah.
So they're little things to refer to.
Very good.
And it makes it very handy. There's one for Protectors, Zeke's Blues with Shane Rimmer.
Aha.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
There's that one. Stingray with Brian Johnson and Bob Bell.
Okay.
On there as well.
Yeah.
They were funny together in the studio, the two of them. That's the one with that commentary.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's it there.
That's
There's a
it.
signature there. Oh, yes, that was a big thrill.
Great.
Ventham. It's got nothing to do with the fact that I was deeply in love with a woman. Not at all. I chose to do my commentaries. That one there is Dragon's Domain with Christopher Penfold and Johnny Byrne.
Right.
Who, to have a very Irishman character who's got the luck of the
Luck of the
Irish
Yeah.
and the Blarney Stone and all that, and have Christopher Penfold, who's very upper class English and stuff like that, was a real joy to have that contrast in the studio. So I did that.
That's amazing.
So, but let's go. This is actually from Nosy Parker's Go.
Nosy Parker is Go. Oh, me lady! Oh! Oi! Slow down! Oh no! Stop! It's going down the ground!
So we can take a look at some of those behind-the-scenes photos that you mentioned.
Oh yeah. Now that there is David Graham. I had the recording session for the Doom Planet XL5, I think it was, and whilst he was there, this was a recording studio up near. It's not far from here, actually. It's a bit further out. I can't remember, Basingstoke, I think it is. And I used to use this little DVA, I think they're called Digital Video Associates, and they had this very good little recording studio. And what happened, I ran Nosy Parker's girlfriend, which originally had my voice doing Parker. So it's like, yes, my lady, you know,
I
a crack agree. Yes. Oh, Nosy Parker is good.
That was pretty good, to be
Well,
fair.
yeah, it's a little bit of Aussie accent there. But
Because you got Charles Tingwell on that as well, didn't you?
well,
Reprising Bruno.
I'll tell you how that came about, because it's all very complicated. I'll try and be quick. I met Charles Tingwell at a film awards in Australia because Nick Tate was there, and Nick Tate introduced me to him, saying he worked on Thunderbirds. And for some reason, I didn't know that Charles Tingwell worked on Thunderbirds. I didn't bother to read the end credits or something. You know, I didn't have videos of it, so you can pause it at the time. And anyway, he was telling me about this character he did of the waiter. It will be a great disaster. The sunbeam will take its revenge. It'll be a great... And this is what Charles kept repeating, this one character. So at the time, I had the idea for doing Nosy Parker's Go. And then I thought, I wonder if there's a way I can integrate this idea of this character. I wonder if Charles would do a voice for me.
Yeah.
So what happened, I sort of wrote it in, but as a telephone voice, because I didn't have enough time to make the puppet. But I had the Parker puppet, which I was going to do myself. And the whole thing about Nosy Parker is it was about what I would like to have seen happen go wrong in Thunderbirds. You know, the cliff face not opening properly or the pool not opening.
Yes.
And then consolidating those ideas and basically linking the ideas with bits of dialogue, funny dialogue, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then I came up with the idea, the motivation for Parker wanting to go out on a mission is to help his old mate Bruno. I thought, that might work. So I met up with Charles Tingwell at his home to do an interview with a friend of mine called Jeff Tilley, who was a big Gerry Anderson, Sylvia Anderson fan in Australia. We went around and interviewed Charles Tingwell. I've still got the interview. I'm hoping to release it one day. Yeah, Charles Tingwell talking about UFO and Captain Scarlet and everything.
Right.
And what happened, we went around his house and I said, I want to show something. I showed him the puppet. And I said, would you be interested in doing a voice? I'd love to do it. I'd love to do it. Blah, blah, blah. So I got him into a studio about 2 months later to record the voices. There's actually a picture at the end of Nosy Parker's Go with me and him standing over the microphones.
Yeah.
And he did his Bruno voice for him. And I had to show him the clips from the show so we could get the voice and the intonation right. Although he pretty much had it. I mean, you know, it was next. So originally I had an original voice. So we had a little premiere. I managed to put the film together. I filmed it in scout huts. I filmed it in Girl Guide huts. I filmed it in a garage. Great. All these visual effects across about 9 months. Yeah. And then I put it on VHS tape and I sent a copy to Gerry's office at Brough, not expecting to hear anything much back. Anyway, we had a little premiere at this little local cinema where they were running Thunderbirds Ago. And Charles Tingwell came along for the premiere with his wife. So it was
lovely.
Like a proper premiere. Sat down stuff.
Yeah.
I remember because they'd forgotten that I was going to put this on. I had to knock on the projectionist door and say, look, here's my film, you need to run it. You know, I'm sure Peter Jackson doesn't get those issues. I'm sure they're well prepared.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah. So anyway, as a result of that, About 2 months later, my girlfriend at the time was living not far from here, a place called Eaton Wick, which is near Windsor, which is near where we are here. And she got a letter back from Gerry Anderson's office, and in fact, I've got the letter here. As you can see, it's actually framed.
Oh.
There it is there.
Yes.
And I might read you a little bit of it, right, because it's quite funny. Okay, so this is me and Gerry having met up, but this is the original letter he sent. But just to finish the story about Charles, so what happened, we got the recording of Charles. I was so proud to have an original voice. Well, what happened is that when David Graham saw this, he said to me, do you want me to revoice it for you?
See.
And this was about 2002, 2003.
Right, okay.
And I said, I'd love you to, but let's not do it today because we're running out of studio time, and he was tired and stuff. So about 2 or 3 years later, I happened to go around to his house with my wife. We sat down in his lounge room, and this is absolutely true. I played for him little snippets of Nosy Parker's Go with a written script, so he'd get the timing of each of the pieces and the sort of intonation. And he redid the whole thing for me.
Yes, we'll hear a little bit of that a little later on. Yes.
Good. So when Jamie contacted me and said, look, we'd be interested, because I'm sending a message about Nosy Parker's Go. I said, do you want to put this on for a bit of fun? Well, we can remaster it, which are like, great, we'll get it rescanned. And I said to him, actually, do you know, I also have David Graham's original voice redoing Parker. Do you want that on it? And he went, oh, yes, please. And in actual fact, the legacy of this production is it's the last commercially released Thunderbirds project with David Graham's original voice of Parker on it.
Must be, yes.
Which for me, I made this 37 years ago. This is unbelievable. Who would have thought when I was making it that would be its legacy? So, incredible. David, the problem was I lost the tape, and it took me 7 days to find it, digging through my entire
I've got that clip as well. We'll just see that shortly.
You'll see that. It's a nightmare. I was almost close to tears.
I
spent a week going through every tape. So that's how that came about. And look, it's something I'm very proud of. I've now expanded it. It's now what I wanted it to be in the first place, because I only had limited funds back then and limited technology, and you'll see some of the technology I've used to bring it up to date. But can I just read you a couple of lines from this? This is from Gerry Anderson. This is his own words. I won't do his voice. I can't do his voice, right. Dear Jeff, thank you for Nosy Parker's Go. I wish you were my wife Mary, and I can tell you it really made her day. As it says on the label, it's fab.
Nice. There it is.
That's the poster. It's fab. It says, if you like Thunderbirds, you'll love Nosy Parker's Go.
Great.
So that's the poster I made. So it says, I thought the Parker was one of the original puppets. Was it? The exterior Thunderbirds 2 hanger could have come from the original. The humour was first class, and considering the budget, I think what you made is quite remarkable. I will soon be showing your film to Channel .05. I think they were the video distributors.
Okay, yes.
And they may enjoy it as well. Needs to say, if you're in this neck of the woods, we'd be very pleased to meet you and entertain you. Thank you, Jeff, for being such an enthusiast about my work. Thank you for making Nosy Parker's Go. We will treasure the cassette, which I'm sure will be played many times, to our businesses, to our friends and business acquaintances, particularly if they don't behave themselves.
There's a threat.
Maybe if we have luck to get Thunderbirds going, you could come over and work on it. The pay is pretty grim, but the producer's a nice guy. Now, if you would be kind enough to let me have your cheque for £5 million as non-returnable advanced against royalties, I'll do my best to prevent you from being arrested. Seriously, once again, thanks for your tribute. Please pass our kindest regards to your crew. No, I can't send you $9,000, which is how much it cost to make.
Right.
With kindest personal regards, Gerry and Mary Anderson.
Wonderful.
So how about that? So that, can you imagine, to be a Thunderbirds fan growing up with that, to make a film, to have an audience appreciate it, to get an original voice artist, and then 37 years later to put the other original voice artist into it. It's just mind-blowing. And then to get the opportunity to put it onto a Blu-ray as one of the extras for everybody to enjoy. Job done.
That's incredible.
And I still haven't paid Gerry his money, by the way. He hasn't got $5 million.
What a story.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
so that's doing a little interview, which I think appeared on the Talking Pictures thing, which is also on the Blu-ray.
Okay,
the interview with him,
great.
And there's me looking quite a bit younger, a little bit more weight
just
on.
A bit. Yeah, that's right.
With David.
Yeah.
And David's such a funny guy. I mean, if you heard the outtakes from Nosy Parker, they're the actual scripts with highlighted marker on there for our lines. And I did this by actually coming up with storyboards to sort of get the general idea and then working out the dialogue the storyboards came before the script.
Oh, I see, yes.
So I actually did it a bit differently. I wanted to get the visuals of this, the Thunderbird 2 bursting through the wall and stuff like that. And then I worked out the dialogue. As you can see, sorry, senor, what you say? I said I'd like to work, but they're not here at the moment, savvy? Yeah, I know the lines.
Of course you do. Camera setups there as well?
Yeah, this is my storyboard sheets, so that the rest of my crew, I could say, this is basically what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you can see on here, on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side rather, there's some sort of pencil-drawn fake wires to a nail board, and that's the explosions that went off. I'll tell you a little story about that. When I set them off, I had 4 explosions. I measured them. I got, right, they're about 6 foot high, so we're ready to go. We're in a Girl Guide hut in Melbourne, and I was ready to go. We ran the film. I ran the screwdriver along, bang, 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 bang. And what I hadn't realised is that each of the explosions makes the next explosion slightly taller, and the next one, because they all add to each other. Right, and these flames went up to the ceiling, which was actually a straw insulation on it. And I stood there as the film was running out, watching it, thinking, if I set light to this place, I'm in big trouble. And luckily I didn't, but here's the thing. 2 years later, somebody did set light to it.
So you could have done it
to the ground completely, but it wasn't down to me. Honest, Governor. Honest, it wasn't me.
Nothing to do with you.
The water tank thing, this is with the little shark fin on a rail. I had a little fan to get the ripples.
Yeah.
That's my crew there, people. So they're the days that are available to me. This is just a rough thing.
Yeah.
Video playback.
Yeah.
That's the little lip sync mechanism thing. I worked out a way to get 12 volts to the puppet, because you lose a bit of voltage. So I had to use a 12-volt car battery, but it wasn't quite enough to make the mouth open. So I had to use a little thing there on the middle there with the little dial. It's a train transformer, triang train transformer. And I bumped it up by about 4 volts, and it just got it to the right level. This is how Heath Robinson, is that the phrase? Yeah. That's the Bonga Bonga postcard, which I actually have here.
Yeah.
Do you want to read the back of this?
Oh, yes.
Right, read the back of that.
Oh, it's tiny.
Right, it is tiny. Have you got your glasses? Maybe give it to Chris there if you can't read.
Dear Parker, having a lovely time, weather fine, still sheep missing?
There's still a sheep missing, I
think.
One sheep.
There's still one sheep missing. We'll try to get the boss to find it. I believe Virgil may have taken a liking to it. Hope you are well. See you in a couple of weeks. Jeff Tracy.
That's it. So that's a little... You don't see that on camera, but obviously every time I see the sequence, I know that that's behind on the back of it there.
Very, very
so there
nice.
you go. This is my crew here. It's a girl I was going out with at the time, Liz, who helped me enormously with all of this, and that's the puppet body. It's not as sophisticated as a real Thunderbirds puppet, but it was literally, I was guessing how to do this.
Yeah, that's extraordinary.
And to solve the technical problems on this, even things like getting the, a way of getting the video next to the camera so I could see a playback on it upstairs. Now, in the days of Century 21, they had a reverse scan monitor, they had a prism in the lens. I had a video camera next to my 16mm camera, and I had a mirror. Yeah. So that's how I did it. Right. That's how I got, so I could see what I was doing.
Yeah.
But that's in the back garden. That's actually, that shot there where you see a Groofus there isn't actually for Nosy Parker's Go. It's for another degeneration program called Degeneration Goes Commercial, where Thunderbird 2 comes out the hangar and it's got a red telephone on top, because they used to be Darladinos in Australia for pizza, and it's like international pizza, kind of thing. So that was done for that. But that's the garage I used to be in, up on the top left there. So you can see very limited space. That's my favourite shot, bottom left, bottom right, with the palm trees. I love the way that just, everything about it is nice. It hits, it falls at your face, you know. There's me trying to learn to edit down the bottom there. This is Andrew, who was on my crew, was an experienced editor.
Right.
There's a few of them about, apparently.
Yes.
Experienced editors. And he was going to edit it for me, and he then had to go off to Sydney to do a proper editing job. And I said, well, how am I going to finish this? He said, well, you have to learn it. So I literally sat at this editing bench. I hired it for 2 weeks. That's my bedroom. And I bought a book called The Focal Guide to Editing, Film Editing, and I sat there, the book in one hand, and surprisingly, I was trying to work it out. Wow. And that's how I learned to edit.
Incredible.
And I've been working now as a professional editor for about 15 years. Yeah, news editor for the BBC, believe it or not. So shots like picking up the phone was sort of homage thing to the show.
Of course.
Pick up thing.
Absolutely.
It used to be Alan Perry's hand most of the time.
Right.
Captain Scarlet, apparently.
Okay. Yeah.
You can tell because one of his fingers is missing or chopped off. It's sort of like that. And you can tell it's his. If you see Captain Scarlet missing finger, that's Alan Perry. Yes,
no,
of course.
just a minute. There's someone we know. Yeah.
That is at the, I think it's called the Black Horse Pub in Falmouth, near Pinewood Studios. Is that it? Yeah? Oh, yes, I'm getting a nod from our camera person here.
I see.
Yes. What happened is that as a result of Nosy Parker's Go, my film was running at an art cinema. And when I went back to Australia, one day they rang me up and said, there's this guy who's from New Zealand who's got a film running here and he wants to meet you because he's a big Thunderbirds fan. And I thought, yeah. So anyway, I turned up, met him, got on with him really well. We had a lot of interest. He likes the Beatles. I like the Beatles and stuff like that. And at the time, he had big plans, apparently, for doing other films.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And,
I wonder how that went.
Yeah, exactly. I've never quite known what happened to him. I met him. This was after Lord of the Rings, I think, or he may have been still in production with it.
Should just say this is Peter Jackson.
Yes.
We should just name him.
Yeah, Peter Jackson. Yeah. He makes films apparently, and the thing is, I met Peter through that connection. We both had films running at the same cinema. So Nosy Parker's Go was my introduction to Pete. I ended up doing loads of work over there with Richard Taylor and over at Weather Workshop with his lovely wife Tanya, who are the model maker, prop maker things who run Weather Workshop. And we did some great things together. I worked on Xena Warrior Princess and a few shows like that, sculpting up things. And it was the last traditional model making things I did before I stepped into the computer graphics thing. So the idea was that I would become one of the computer graphics guys at Peter's sort of side, but it didn't quite work out because there were some troughs and bumps with productions and stuff. He was going to do King Kong, and then that got pushed, and then Lord of the Rings came along, and so on. But I saw him a few times. I went to the premieres with my wife, which was really nice. Lord of the Rings in London. I'm probably the only person who didn't work on it went to the premiere, which is pretty good. And over the years, I've sort of stayed in touch with him. I've lost touch now. It's been many, many years. But he's a top guy, and he's a huge Thunderbirds fan. And I believe he may be the person who owns the puppet-sized Fab 1. I think.
Right.
May well do.
Okay.
And a lot of other originals, which I won't go into details with.
Yeah, sure. Wow.
Huge Thunderbirds fan. And he's told me some of the ideas he's had for doing Thunderbirds films, but honestly, they're so dreadful, Peter. Never, ever make that film. I won't tell you what it is, but the execution of it would have been brilliant. And I've seen some tests that he did. So hello, Peter.
What we're going to show now is, I've got some clips, again, that you very kindly sent through. Now, actually, Jeff, perhaps this is the time to broach this subject. You've sent me an awful lot of footage, but we can't possibly watch it all in one podcast. How would you feel if I were to take that footage and release it maybe as a bonus episode next week?
I think so. I'd be happy to do that, because the thing is, I had to solve lots of problems, not only on the original production, but to be honest, it took me 3 months of every moment of my spare time between when when we did the transfer, which I think was back in March. I actually took some time off work, and I went down to London. We got it transferred at Silver Salt Productions, which is where coincidentally, most of your other stuff was.
Right.
I think Jonathan Wood suggested them. He's the colorist guy who's done a lot of Anderson stuff before, and I had that transferred, and then of course I had the issue of not only. It's a bit like, have you ever baked a cake and then 37 years ago you've had to get the ingredients out of the cake again and then remake the cake? So it's a bit like that. And literally I'm trying to remember the ingredients. I'm trying to remember, did I put eggs in? But it was a nightmare. And I had to extract it all apart, get the new material that had been scanned in. In the old days, you did a thing called an AB negative cut, which, because you're using 16mm, you can't cut on the frame. You have to actually put some black leader and you put it on the next one, and that's how it... Well, you can't scan them like that anymore, so we have to do 2 separate scans. I then have to join them back up by hand. Then I'm having to clean them up using digital technology, sort out the sound. Then I had the problem that I didn't have the original soundtrack. The original soundtracks, the original recordings. So how do I put the new voice of David Graham's, make it fit exactly the mouth movements of the puppet that was mimicking my voice doing it, and then add in a pre-recorded voice, which has already got sound effects and noises and background noise of Charles Tingwell on the phone. How do I do that? And honestly, it took every bit of knowledge and every kind of trick in the book to make it work.
Well,
so,
let's have a little look to see how it went and the sort of problems you faced. So this is a clip from
this
the making
is
of.
the video Adavision. So this is my reference video copy. You can see it's very grainy because it was recorded on VHS.
Yeah.
The lightness on the puppet is incredible.
Yeah,
really
you can hear in the background the playback.
Yes.
And that's from a different angle. I don't know who that is pulling that up there and stuff, but I like the way it fell over it and I kept it in.
That's great. Absolutely.
There's a few times where I couldn't quite reach that. I thought, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a slide. Oh, this was a nightmare because sliding something along where you're trying to keep pace with it and hold it up as a puppet, and we had to use all those tricks I'm sure they used to use in the old days, like holding it up underneath.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here we go, yeah. The various components for Nosy Parker's Go. That there is the release print, which is projectable. Here.
Where is all this stuff?
Well, I had it stored in boxes, and they came over with me when I moved back to the UK years ago, and they'd just been in boxes, and I'd forgotten all about them. And then when this thing came up with Jamie, I thought I'd better find them, hadn't I?
Yeah.
And that's when this is where I found out that the master.
I mean, your heart must have sank. We'll see in a moment the state of the.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this isn't put up. This is actually how it was.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what am I going to do now?
Yeah. I mean, was there ever a moment where you thought this can't be done?
Yeah. And in fact, I had to buy a new Mac computer, the latest mini Mac, because the technique I've used using AI to improve the image quality was taking 4 days for a 9-minute or 11-minute film. Wow. So I had to speed it up. And when I got the new Mac in, it took 27 minutes. But you can see here. Yeah, I mean, this is a common thing with old films.
Such a shame. And is there anything you could do to prevent that? I mean, it was because they hadn't been kept in a temperature-controlled environment?
It was in a garage of mine, in a hot back garden in Australia, in a tin shed for about 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Then it's been stored in various other conditions.
Yeah.
No, look, it's just been, it's age.
Yeah.
It's like us all, we'll get a bit rusty with age.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of TV and film archives, and the film elements are held in like salt mines or something to
temperature control, humidity control,
Yeah.
things like that. But usually what you do is after 10 years, you'd make duplicate copies or something like that.
Right.
I mean, even with videotapes, you're better off to do that.
Yeah.
But it's to do with the magnetic filings on it.
And this is the moment you were looking for David Graham's original.
Yeah, that was the interview I thought it was on. And in actual fact, it was on the very next tape, which was literally the second last digital videotape I was looking through. We got 2 more to go, right? That one and another one over there. David Graham in voice booth. I'm really hoping this is the one. And what confused me is I was doing something with sandbaggers as well. So it was labelled sandbaggers. And I ran it through. And these little digital videotapes. So the video, but with his, it was just his voice recorded.
Yes.
And here we go. We have David Graham's Nosy recording.
So there must have been a growing sense that, this could be possible. This could be done.
Yeah, after a week, I'd almost given up. And then when I found out, I thought, thank God, because that was the key element. If I didn't have that, well, you'd have me doing the Aussie accented Nosy Parker's Go. Good day, mate.
And here we go. Here's David Graham in action.
She said, hey, Thunderbird 2, you shouldn't have any trouble in Thunderbird rescuing. Who wrote this load of cobblers?
Now, is that David Graham speaking or Parker?
That was David Graham. That was...
Thank you for purchasing a Thunderbird 2.
I obviously cut that out and I changed the line very slightly because I thought it was unbecoming of a Thunderbirds episode. Sorry, kiddies.
This should give you years of trouble-free rescuing. What, isn't it?
And then it's, cool, this isn't any good.
Yeah, cool. This isn't any good.
Now, these were new lines that I came up with because the whole thing about
this isn't any good to me.
The whole thing about Nosy Parker's Go is I made it with my own money, limited resources. I was coming over to the UK. I had a limited time to get it done by. And the opening sequence originally on Nosy Parker's Go just had some stills of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I wanted to replace those with model shots, which if you watch it, you'll see what I've done with those. Hopefully I haven't, caused too much grief for the original purists for Thunderbirds.
I think it's fine.
I like my Thunderbird one, the missing, he tries to start, it's quite good, he just covers with smoke. But those new bits, I had to put it back in. I had to recreate using the original puppet, or by using other props. So when that line is going up where he's reading it, is actually a brochure.
You look away from the puppet,
and the behind the scenes, which is actually the cockpit. I didn't have that. So what I did is I took a still from the shot where you see a panning shot where you can see some fluffy dice hanging up. And I cleaned it up. And I put some animated clouds in the background, and I actually put it onto a big screen like that, and I put the piece of paper with the glove in front of it, so it looked like we were in the cockpit still.
Good.
And all of the new shots of Nosy that I've added in some extra scenes with, I've used that technique because I don't have the set. I mean, literally, I have the puppet, the hat, the costume I had to make, and that's. And I made a little bit of set so you could see the book being flung across a little bit of the set for the auto thing. So, but what I wanted to do there, I always felt that he gets the message, he gets to Thunderbird 2, tries to start it, gets up in the air, and then crashes it. And I felt that sometimes to make comedy work, you need a bit of drama thrown in.
Absolutely.
And I love those sequences where that music, that fast music you got on Thunder, dun 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 dun, this kind of stuff. Sorry, Barry. But I love that, and I thought I really want to put it back. I want to pace it out a little bit more. And also, interesting enough, the last line in it, I actually changed. But I had to change the words so they matched the original mouth movement.
Gotcha.
So originally, this is the big giveaway. Originally, it said, I wonder what pod Thunderbird 4 might be in. Like that. So now it is, let's see if I remember this, I don't think the Tracys are going to be too well pleased with this. So it's the same words.
I see, same rhythm.
It took me a while to work out because the problem was the original dialogue, nobody got it. Thunderbird 4, what do they mean? Of course, it's in the water and he ends up in the water. So I changed the line. I got David to redo the line. But again, there were a couple of times where there were some new lines I had. The annual manual line.
Oh, yes.
Yeah? This isn't the manual, it's an annual. Well, I didn't have that line. I came up with the idea about a week before I finished this. I thought, that's a great idea. Why don't I try and do that? So I used a new AI technique to sample David's voice. I know there are some purists out there who won't like to hear this, but this is a way that you use technology now to fix things that couldn't be fixed before. And there were a couple of new lines I wanted to add into Nosy Parker's Go, lines that better suited the action. So I'm using an AI program here, text-to-speech, and it sampled the recording I had of David Graham, and I've put in the new words, and here you can hear it.
This isn't the manual, it's an annual. Oh, wait a minute. This isn't the manual, it's an annual.
And there's a few other intonations on here.
Oh, wait a minute. This isn't the manual, it's an annual.
It's an annual. Don't quite make the grade. And
oh, wait a minute. This isn't the manual, it's an annual.
Annual?
Yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it, how it's giving you all these different iterations.
Well,
it's an annual.
So you can see there's different iterations there, and what I've done is just mixed down the best ones, recorded them in, and then I can drop them into the show itself. So I've done this with 2 bits of dialogue. Actually 3. Will not be noticed that it's any different from the original recorded tracks. Hopefully, that's the idea. Now that's something I couldn't have done 2 years ago.
That's right.
And that's the first time I've used it. It took me 10 hours to learn how to use that software one night, and and my deadline's coming up. I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? So it's similar to the problems I had at the time, back 37 years ago, trying to solve the problems of how to make the lip sync work. How do I do the playback? How do I monitor it? How do I do this? How do I learn how to edit?
Right.
But this time, there are other technologies. I've had to pull all those bits apart, put them all back together seamlessly without noticing, and add new bits in. And it's only by being able to have this technology now that I've been able to do this.
Incredible.
So 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do this.
That's right. And of course, Dave is no longer with us, so that wasn't an option.
No.
So what choice did you have? Do you feel that this is the final word on Nosy Parker? Do you think? I mean,
yeah, I'm not going to do it. I did a little extra bit just
until
as
the 4K
a teaser.
steelbook. Come on.
I mean, I said to Gerry Anderson one day, I said, look, this took me. I was sitting in the pub with him. He took me out to lunch. It was very, very nice when I went over to meet him. And I said, by the way, Gerry, I've got a question for you. How the hell did you make 32 of these? It took me 9 months to make 9 minutes worth.
That's right.
He said, because I had lots and lots of people working for me.
Yeah.
And I said, of course.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you take on board one of these projects, a lot of people, it becomes this impossible. You look at what the things you've got to work through. And it's funny because having met Peter Jackson, he has a similar thing that in his life, he sees there's a problem. You've got to make Lord of the Rings. Well, where do you start?
Where do you start?
Oh, well, we need to do, we need to get these battle scenes. How are we going to? I mean, there is a huge raft of things preventing you from getting a completed film. And, similarly, anybody who makes films, anybody who makes projects or art or whatever, you have to look at where you want to end up.
Yeah.
And you have to work out some way to get there, one way or another. And that's what I did with that.
Yeah,
and I'm very proud of it because I hope it gives people a bit of a laugh. It's very close to my heart.
Yeah.
Thunderbirds, UFO, Captain Scarlet, they're huge. I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And to think I did that all those years ago, and to think it's on the Blu-ray,
Absolutely.
the official Blu-ray.
There it is. That's right. Yeah.
And it was at the end of it though, even though I was, I was almost in tears a couple of times and tearing my hair out.
I can imagine.
Trying to get this thing done. How do I get a new voice in? How do I do this? And I'm having to just, there's a new bit of software. I'll see if that works. I'll see if this works. And each time I did that, it paid off somehow. So I think it's more by luck than by design, but I got there in the end.
Well done.
Yeah. FAB.
Yeah, FAB, exactly. Well, you can catch Nosy Parker's Go on the Blu-ray box set of Thunderbirds for the 60th anniversary.
Yes.
And thanks to Jeff, we'll also be showing the full behind-the-scenes commentary and the little documentary he made about the restoration of the old footage in next week's bonus episode of the Gerry Anderson Podcast next Sunday.
A bonus episode.
Yeah.
Episode.
However,
what's that little box you've got there?
Well, this is our Space 1999 lunchbox.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? I bet that's highly valued by the fans.
Yeah.
That is.
Oh, yes.
I want a UFO one. I've never found one. A metal
there you
UFO
go.
box.
Now, inside this box, Jeff, I think there's 7 or 8 questions in there. If you can just grab them all.
Grab them all.
And these are from our viewers and listeners who have sent in their questions via our Facebook group, our Facebook page.
I may not be able to read them. I have to hold them back
That's
a little
all right.
bit.
Well, I'm happy to help out.
I had my cataracts done recently.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. From Brendan Gant.
Oh, yes.
Jeff, having sat in the room with both creators and performers of these iconic Anderson productions, you've had the rare opportunity to hear how memory, myth, and reality intersect. From your perspective as a commentary producer, what surprised you most about how these stories change when told by different voices? And did you ever find yourself quietly reshaping the narrative to bridge those gaps for the audience? That didn't happen too
Interesting,
often.
though. Good point.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it's more when you do interviews with people, because there's about 6 little many documentaries I've done over time, and you do get different variations on a theme. I mean, one that I wasn't involved with, but is a pure example of how memory can play tricks on you. There was an interview done many years ago with Ed Bishop talking about how he got the role for UFO. It was in Starlog magazine.
Yeah.
And it mentions how it was a hot day and he was helping his neighbour with some bricks, move some bricks. You heard that one? Yeah. And then he gets a call from Gerry over at Pinewood, and he goes over there and he's got the role for UFO. Well, there's several issues with that.
Okay.
Right? For a start off, when they started production of UFO, that wasn't in the summer months.
Right.
Okay. Gerry wasn't at Pinewood when they were doing UFO.
Yeah.
He was based at Century 21 in Slough or at the offices at MGM, Elstree, where they filmed the first series. So what's Pinewood got to do with it? Then you realise what it is. Ed is talking about his role of David Paulson, the NASA guy, in Doppelganger, which was only a year or so before.
Of course.
And
he conflated the two.
I did Captain Blue's voice, and then I was doing these bricks because what happened... Do you know the story about what happened when they had to replace Peter Dineley?
That they brought Ed in to fill that role.
Because Peter Dinkley was originally a NASA guy, but he looked so much like Patrick Wymark physically, and a very deep booming voice, although American, that they thought we need to replace him. The two look so similar, so they called up Ed. Could you come? And that's why Ed had to dash down to Pinewood.
Gotcha.
So it's not that people are lying.
Yeah.
It's not that people are trying to make a good story. It's that sometimes you just remember things. And what I've always tried to do is get another source.
Yeah.
And this is what we do in news.
Yeah.
If you find two other sources, or at least another source independent, that match, you think, right,
okay.
I'm
you
pretty
start
sure.
to think that there's a truth there somewhere.
So that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm not. My performers don't usually lie to me.
But the memory cheats, doesn't it?
It does. And look, this is the other thing. This is why I used to send out an episode to show them. I used to explain things to jog
and
some
your
memory.
guides that you've shown us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Little guides, because it's not cheating. It's basically the last thing you want is someone going, "Oh, who was that woman who did the hairdressing?" and who was that guy who did? Because you lose your base then. The fans already know that. Yeah. So shall I go for another? I hope that's answered your question there.
Let's
There's a short one here.
Yeah, good.
Richard Goodborn?
Oh, yes, Richard Goodborn, yeah.
Hi, Jeff. Who was the best Anderson alumni you worked with for the commentaries? Gosh. They were all really good. Special star, Mike Trim, did a Joe 90.
Yeah.
I didn't have to help him one little bit. He came in, he sat there, he went from start to end, he hit all his marks. A shot came up on screen of a thatched cottage.
Yeah.
And as he was talking about how they did the thatched cottage, I mean, he was absolutely... That man is a genius.
Great.
And
it makes your job so much easier.
I just sat there and enjoyed it. It was great.
Brilliant.
So, but they were all pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who worked on an Anderson show is worth it, let me tell you. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Next. Is there a prize for anybody on this, by the way?
Don't mention prizes. They'll want something.
Prizes implies a budget.
Right, you get that. You get the thing.
They send us things.
Yeah. Oh,
Jeff.
do they? Oh, right, okay. Simpsons clips. Hi, Jeff. You probably talked about him already. Did you ever work with Gerry Anderson in your years doing DVD commentaries? No, actually, I didn't.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that, in that Gerry had already done a lot of the commentaries before I came on board. I was doing the American ones.
Yeah.
And in a way, it was my job to find something different, because Gerry had already done the Carlton ones.
Yeah.
So he'd already done the first episode of Stingray or whatever, it was Scarlet or whatever it was. So my job was to find something different so that they could have a unique selling thing for the American discs.
Yeah.
So I went with anybody else who was out there from the production. Also, I wanted to... I mean, as an overall executive producer of these programs, or as the originator of it, he has things that he can talk about, but he can't talk about exactly how the models were made, or how the visual effects were shot, or the cameras, or anything like that. Even though he himself is a very skilled technician, he was a sound editor.
That's right.
Time ago. Yes. So no, I never did, and I'm disappointed that I never did that. Because I would have loved to have done that, but many other people over the years have done very, very good interviews with him. So it's not something I feel that the world's missed out on as such. Right. So let's have a look. What we got here is that Matt Dennis Morell.
Oh yes.
Will we ever get those commentaries made available in the UK? Some wonderful actors, directors, crew members no longer will feature on those.
Good point.
Yes.
So, do you think? I mean, is it up to you? Can you make this happen? Or
Some of them I own the rights to. Most of them I do, because when I did the deal for America, it was basically they get the rights for the duration of time. They hold the rights for the DVDs, which is about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
They automatically came back to me after 15 anyway.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because I knew in future I didn't want, if a DVD company went out of business, I didn't want that to prevent the world from hearing these things. So I did these deals. And I did them for a cheap price as well, so they got the benefit.
Yeah.
There's a few that I don't own. There's a few for Shout Factory. There's a Captain Scarlet making of, and there's a Thunderbirds thing, which I don't own. They own.
Yeah.
But I have the rest of the material. I've got the masters. And of course, I've got other masters of other commentaries I did before we were filming here. I mentioned about the commentary I did on The Persuaders with Roger Moore.
Yes.
And that was great fun, meeting up with Roger and telling us all these stories and what have you.
Yeah, sure.
And also I did other commentaries with other performers, so Ian McKellen on a production Macbeth that he did for ITV and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I did some stuff. Actually, I didn't do some stuff. I was going to do some stuff with Benny Hill, the Hills Angels, but a mate of mine, I had to hand it over to him because we had too busy a schedule.
Yeah.
So the great thing about these commentaries was that I started off with the Anderson things, And I now run to other things. I even did a commentary with the 2 lead actors, Keir Delay and Gary, forgotten his surname, Lockwood, on 2001 Space Odyssey. But I recorded them together in a studio at Pinewood.
Yeah.
But some years went by and some personal things happened in my life and I never got it finished. And then it got the release, the 50th anniversary of 2001, and they did the commentary with those 2 actors in 2 separate places.
I see.
But I listened to my commentary and it is more natural.
Yeah,
Maybe one day we'll get that. I'll have a word with MGM or something.
Yeah, that's great.
Whoever the rights holders are.
Next question.
Go through the next.
Yeah.
Right, breeze through these.
Yeah.
Jeff Tilley, right. My cohort, who was sitting there with me
there you
when
are.
we interviewed.
I did wonder when you mentioned the name.
Yeah. From Melbourne, Australia, that we interviewed, Charles Tingwell, and he was there when I showed him the puppet you just saw before and we got the gig.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeff. What is the most iconic imagery or scene that stands out for you in UFO? I mean, from the opening sequence of that eye, the thing popping out the eye, and the way that's cut. The whole thing about these Anderson shows is they're incredibly well cut. And we have another editor sitting here today who can probably attest to that as well, and I'm an editor. Yeah. They were brilliantly cut. Some of that was forced upon them because you can't get a puppet to walk through a door, so you have to cut to a shot of it coming through the door. Yeah. But this means they look very modern, some of these shows, because that's what you do today. You don't hang around on a shot. You do cuts because it compresses time. Yeah. And I find that those opening sequences from Stingray, Thunderbirds, Scarlet, Joe 90, UFO, and Space, just genius. You don't get better than that. I mean, there have been great title signals over the time, but not so consistently across a run of shows. And I think that's a lot to do with Gerry, it's a lot to do with David Lane, it's a lot to do with other people that were cutting those programs as well. That UFO opening sequence.
And Barry Gray, of course, churning out
music.
hit theme after hit theme. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's perfect. So, it's hard for me to say. So sorry, Jeff. It's all of them.
All the above.
Steve Bushell.
Yes.
Bushell.
Yeah.
Hi, Jeff. Were you named after a certain Tracy, perhaps? Did you have a generic list of questions to ask? Did you turn to each interview? No, it's happenstance that I'm Jeff with a J, as in Jeff Lynne from ELO, who also a fan of. Yeah. I was born about 3 years before Thunderbirds was made, so I was named. I think they took the name off me.
Yeah, I think quite possibly right.
I think Gerry heard me out there, thought, that's a good name, we'll have that. Actually, I've never known how he actually is, because we know what the boys were called.
That's
because
it,
after
the astronauts.
The astronauts.
Yeah.
But Jeff, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Ooh, no.
I'm not sure. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Maybe Jamie might know the answer.
Yeah.
Jamie, if we hold you down and shake you, you might be able to tell us what your dad told us about that. Who knows? For the commentaries, there were some general things, but there were things I knew about them, and I'd had conversations with them before, and you'd say, oh, is there a story? Oh, yeah, it's a really good story about it. So you put those away, you've got about 3 or 4 main stories, and then they join up all the rest.
I see.
So there are a few specific questions, there are some funny things I know about, but usually they fed those to me, and I then am able to remind them or something like that during the thing. So they're not too staged, not too many of them. Right, so... hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining the podcast. This is from John Stock. Which show was the easiest to get guest commentaries for, and were the most guests that you asked willing to join you in the and were the most guests? Right, I did a commentary once on Stingray with Sylvia Anderson, Mary Turner, and John Reed. And unfortunately, John didn't realise it was about talking and the commentary, and he sat there watching the show, thoroughly enjoying it.
Well, good for him, but that's not much good for you.
Can be problems.
I said, look, John, just stop a second. I said, the idea is you talk like that, but you're talking over the dialogue. Like, you're supposed to keep quiet in the cinema, aren't you? Yeah. So anyway, I went back and picked up some lines from him and gave it a bit of balance. And of course, Sylvia led on that a lot, because she's like, oh, Mary, do you remember this?
Yes.
And do you remember that?
I could imagine.
Because Mary's a bit quiet as well. So that's how it is. So I let Sylvia take charge of that one. She was great. But look, there isn't one that I can think of that I didn't have a ball of a time learning something new. David Graham was great fun. They all were, one way or another. They loved these shows.
Yeah, they
there's
did.
not one of them that says... the one I did with Stephen Begg was interesting. I did it on Terrorhawks. And this is the first time I've ever had a line cut by the people in America.
Oh, no.
He started by saying... hello, I'm Stephen Begg. Sorry, Stephen, that's your Scottish accent there. Stephen Begg. And I have the dubious honour of working as a visual effects expert on Terrorhawks, like that. Well, they cut that out because they were worried that Christopher Burr, who apparently had to authorise it, would take offence. And they cut that out, and they cut another line out where on another Terrorhawks episode, Bob Bell was with his son Tony, who directed some episodes, and they're looking at the screen and they see this lizard on screen. It's a desert thing.
Oh, it's Gunfight. It's
Gunfight, the OK's Corral. Yeah. Anyway, Bob says something else. Oh, they're talking about going out to dinner with Christopher Burr. Yeah, sorry. Christopher Burr. And immediately he finishes that sentence, he looks at the screen and says, oh, there's a lizard. Well, when I sent the commentary track, some woman in the office listened to it and thought that he was calling Christopher Burr a lizard. Slimy lizard kind of thing. They cut it. And I said, no, have a look at it with the picture. When you look at the picture, you can see a lizard on screen. Yeah. So, it's amazing how these things can get lost in translation a little bit. But, they had to cut Stephen Begg. And Stephen Begg's a big bloke. You ever met him?
Oh, yes, of course.
And I had to ring him up quite worried, go, Steve, they cut that word from your corner like that. But he was cool about it. Yeah. He was cool about it. And, of course, he's gone on to great things.
Certainly has.
Many great things.
Absolutely right.
Jonathan Bell, you're the lucky last Jonathan, I think. Hi, Jeff. What is your favourite episode of UFO? I've got a few.
Ooh. Yeah.
I've got a few. Mindbender.
Yeah.
Definitely Kill Straker. I like most of the early ones, even some of the ones that aren't considered very much, like the one with the Alan Perry directed, which he wasn't quite sure what the story was, where they have to the close-up where they've got the large images of things with the tracker thing. And I even like that. There's a couple I don't like. I'm not very keen on Long Sleep.
Yeah,
I think it's too out there. I'm not very keen on the one that's set with that thing underwater. Reflections in the water. I'm not keen on that one. Or Destruction is I'm a bit funny with as well. But the rest of them I love dearly, every last one of them.
Right.
So,
Well, you will be pleased to hear it's that time of the podcast where we ask you at last to press the big red button and choose.
Oh, is that what the big red button is?
You will then, Jeff.
It's not an ejector seat. Okay.
You will then choose a random episode from any of Gerry's series for us to sit down and watch in a couple of weeks' time.
I'm thinking of a few I can think of.
Well, let's see how lucky you get. And
right, maybe you see the button?
If you can give us
Do I press it gingerly or do I get a nice...
That's over to you, Jeff. Off you go. Let's have a look and see what you get. So we're going to scroll through all of Gerry's series. Let's see where we land.
Glorious black and white.
Okay, well, we're just about through the supermarination.
We are.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. UFO.
That's it.
Right. Okay. Right.
Well,
UFO.
What are the chances?
Wow.
Jeff Smart, you've chosen a random episode from UFO. Chris, do you happen to know which episode we're watching?
I think it might be, if I just consult the randomizer hookup here.
I've been under a time lash.
Well, I've done Mindbender many years ago.
Oh, you've done Mindbender.
I mean, the chances of it being time lash. It's
1 in 26 time lash.
It's time lash. It's time lash.
There you go.
The guys, they've sorted it.
There you are. Now, Chris, give us a very brief, if you will, just 3-second summary of what UFO entails and the basic premise.
Red alert.
There you go.
Confirming UFO.
That's Mel Oxley.
Yes.
That's exactly the same.
That's perfect. So we're talking, this is Gerry and Sylvia's first live action series.
Yeah.
Now, it's very successful over on IMDb, where it's got a score of 8.1.
8.1.
And here's a typical review. If you like Gerry Anderson and ITC sci-fi from the 70s, this is a must-see episode.
Yes, it's a very popular one.
Time Lash, even if you're not a fan, it's probably the most entertaining entry from the UFO series and one of the most visually amazing 48 minutes of television you're ever likely to see. It begins with a riddle, then goes back in time to solve it. The same trick J.J. Abrams now uses 35 years later, most weeks on Alias and Lost. The result involves a half-hour non-stop chase sequence, which is amazingly energetic, at times confusing, but ultimately very satisfying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you agree with that?
And the fact that they mentioned Mindbender, even though it's not the Mindbender episode, it must be very confusing, isn't it?
That's right. But look, awarded 10 out of 10 by this particular viewer.
Is that Jamie writing that in?
Almost certainly.
Oh, right, good.
Now, every guest that we have, before we sit down and watch their chosen episode, we subject them to one of these.
Now, time for Fab Facts.
Okay. So, we are going to present you with a rather special Fab Fact from this month's episode from UFO Time Lash. Chris.
Time Lash, yes. Well, we've often discussed on the podcast how many of the Anderson shows reuse props, sets and puppets from other Anderson shows. Time Lash being set on the backlot of the fictitious Harlington Straker Studios, as played by Pinewood Studios, goes one further by using props and sets from other shows and films. Pinewood studio buildings and streetscapes were used extensively in the filming of this episode, several other episodes, and at several points during the rather extended chase sequence. The outdoor set used for 1970s The Breaking of Bumbo is clearly visible. I've not heard of
Breaking of Bumbo.
Wanda mentions that in the commentary, actually, because her husband, Timothy Carlton, worked on that. And she mentions, my husband worked on that. And then apparently, 6 months later, she got some time off from UFO to Sylvia gave her permission to go and do 4 episodes of Family at War, and that's where she met her husband Timothy Carlton, and they got married and everything, and that's how you get Benedict Cumberbatch.
And The Breaking of Bumbo also starred UFO nearly star Joanna Lumley, who once auditioned for the part of Lieutenant Ellis. Also was cast in a guest role in The Protectors that got cut. Because who cares about Joanna Lumley? She's some nobody. No one's going to ever worry about her in the future.
Who's she?
Yeah. And UFO star Anuska Hempel also starred in The Breaking of Bumbo.
Sounds
fascinating.
Who was in it? Did Jerry just take his cast from whoever was acting around the studio that day?
Certainly.
There's even a cameo appearance from a member of the Carry On team. When Ed Straker breaks into the prop store at Harlington Straker Studios, you can clearly see Junior from Carry On screaming.
That's right. That's where it's from.
And there's even, would you believe, an appearance of the giant hand prop, seen here being handled by stationary members of the crew, that's also seen in a later episode of the non-Anderson series, The Persuaders.
Amazing.
There it is,
And I think that's maybe in Mindbender as well, possibly the giant hand?
Yes, it was. It was handed over, wasn't it? Yeah. There were a few items in UFO on the backlot that have been there for years. There's all these chess pieces that every time I've been to Pinewood, they're always there. They just dump on the side of the road. I don't know what they're from.
There was a chess scene in a
giant
from
chess
thing. Yes, Deadlier Than the Male. There's giant chess pieces in that.
Could be
maybe.
Yeah. They've got a Bolex camera. Oh no, that's a Rolleiflex, isn't it? It looks like a Bolex 16mm.
And of course, this is Joan Collins, who later went on to be in Space 1999.
Yeah, it looks like she's wearing Wanda's costume there, doesn't she?
Yes.
Outside, when you see the shots of Straker and Lake running round, I'll point them out. Actually, we're watching if you like. I'll show you because there's a shot of the Interceptor set. There's a shot of the Sky One set, and another shot which I think is the view from either inside looking out of the Interceptor, or possibly the Paul Foster's test aircraft set. One of the two. I can't tell. But I'll point them out as we go through.
Please do. Yes.
And I mean the fact that I did the commentary with Wanda and Sylvia, and I do sort of remember most of what they said. Means that actually I can pick up on some of that and I can tell you some behind-the-scenes stories.
Well, we look forward to that in just a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, I wanted to leave our viewers and listeners with something special. This is something else that you forwarded to us, featuring friend of the podcast, Aisha Brough.
Oh, yeah. Can I just explain what this is?
Go for it, and then we'll take a watch.
Okay. I've known Aisha for several years now. I consider her a friend. I speak to her semi-regularly, every few weeks. And I put her forward for an award. Somebody I work with who runs the Asian Music Awards in Manchester, and it's for performers, actors, and stuff like that. So it's for Asian performers, if you like. And I mentioned that the fact that I knew Aisha, and she was the first sort of Asian face on television as a teenager doing Liftoff with Aisha, and then of course she was in UFO. And he went to the board and they said, we want to give her a special award for this. So they decided to give her a Lifetime Achievement Award. And so about a year ago, we were invited to this very nice event. I think it was at the Hilton in Manchester. And the producer said to me, is this something you could put together so the audience know who we're talking about? Because obviously most of them are fairly young and they may not have known this. They're not old like me, and I remember Liftoff with Aisha. So anyway, I put together this little tribute to her work, but also I put a little bit of something special into it as well. And you'll see I've added a picture of Aisha, her reaction
Yeah.
to seeing this gentleman on screen.
Lovely.
And I hope you enjoy this. And this is my little homage to a certain science fiction television program.
Great. So, viewers and listeners, we will leave you with that and join Jeff, Chris, and me in a couple of weeks' time to sit down and watch Time Lash from UFO. But in the meantime, thanks so much, Jeff
It's been
Smart.
an absolute pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for sitting there listening to me go on all this time. Thank you very much. Been great.
The most instrumental actors, singers, and possessors of her generation. Her career has spanned more than 6 decades, during which time she's appeared in a host of TV, film, and stage roles.
As a TV host, Aisha launched some of the biggest pop and rock acts of the 70s. It made her a household name. And just one I'd probably mention is that David Bowie launched his Ziggy Stardust trainer on her show.
Hello, everyone. It's really nice to see you. And look who I've got to help me out this week. Hello, Barry. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Aisha.
Hello, Barry.
I think, do you know, I think you got a really good show this week, Aisha.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Going to watch this too, aren't even going to give us a mention.
Yeah, watch it. We have with us
the Bay City Rollers. Oh, dear. Rubbish.
You gave my life to me, set me free, the finest years I ever knew were all the years I had with you. I would give anything I own, give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again. When I am lonely, will you send me roses? Take from the garden of your love. When we grow old, I'll keep those golden roses. The leaves will still be warm. Farewell, why must you leave so soon? So I know you won't believe I'm crying. Farewell, my lovely afternoon. Now it's time to say our last farewell. How shall I waste away my lonely hours? My conversation seems to
But that's Moon Base Operations Area.
Right, call Commander Straker.
Radar trace bearing 184, range 20 miles.
This is a maximum security alert.
Interceptors immediate launch.
This is a maximum alert. Aisha, wait a minute. She left a disc to get me a coffee 50 years ago. That's when I was Lieutenant Keith Ford, and now with Straker and all the others gone, I'm Commander Ford. Aisha, congratulations on this wonderful award. UFO is your first acting gig.
It's pretty complex, sir. Times, courses, trajectories, the interplay of G-forces.
I love your songs. I love your show, so this is well deserved. Have a wonderful evening. And after it's over, get back here with my coffee. Commander Ford, over and out.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to welcome the winner of the Outstanding Contribution to Media Award 2024, Ayshea Brough.
Thank you. She's not dead. Thank you so much. I can't believe that it's 50 years since I came here to do one of my first TV shows. So young, so innocent. I was doing a comedy sketch live with a dog, puppet, and an owl puppet, and a real cat. And halfway through the sketch, the cat disappeared, and I panicked. The dog said to me, "What's the matter?" And I said, "I've lost my little ginger pussy." And the owl fell off the table. I thought I'd lost my job, but they kept me here for another 10 years. And they were wonderful years, as the last 50 have been. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I just say to you, never, ever give up.
Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.